right, today I'm going to talk about the why and the how of getting started in long range shooting. Probably take these off, huh? So, a lot of people get really resistant to the idea of getting into long range shooting, and they come up with all sorts of reasons why they shouldn't. And a lot of that I'm finding is based on a misunderstanding of things that are involved. Now, I'm not talking about becoming an expert in long range shooting. To do that, yes, it takes a lot of equipment, a lot of gear, a lot of training, and the practicality of it might be a little questionable, but to get really good, there's a lot that you can do. What I'm talking about here is how to get started and why. So let's start off with the why. I break it down into 3 different reasons why you should do it. Number 1 is just fun. Part of the idea of this is it shouldn't be a chore, it should be enjoyable. And when you get to the point where you get to a range and you look at a target that is so far away you can't even make it out without binoculars, and you get behind the gun and you send a round down range, your buddy might be spotting you and he can actually see the bullet in the air, disrupting the air as it goes 10 to 12 feet above the target, 10 to 12 feet off to the side, and then it arcs down and drifts right down in, hits the target, and makes this loud metallic clang. That is really satisfying and it's really fun. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the practical aspect of it. It is going to help you develop skills with your rifle that you don't know that you even need to do if all of your shooting has been done at 1 to 300 yards. At 1 to 300 yards, your fundamentals don't have to be perfect. You can make mistakes with trigger control and sight alignment and body position and all of these other things because they just don't matter at that real short range, at least when you're at a shooting range. Now, it does matter out in the field where you get stacking tolerances, where your fundamentals might not be perfect, they're okay, but now you're on uneven ground, you're in cold weather, the wind is blowing, and all of a sudden everything is going crazy. Now those problems with your fundamentals are going to show up. Well, you can fix that by learning to shoot at long range. At long range, you have to fix those because all of those things become really evident. So you will get better. It will improve you as a rifleman by shooting at 700, 800, 900, even 1,000 yards. All of those skills are going to translate down into what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, just in a regular hunting situation where your maximum shot is 200, 250 yards. So the skill building is number 2. Number 3, a little harder to discuss, but it is Second Amendment. And the Second Amendment is about defense, and it is about defending yourself, but also defending your family, your home, your neighborhood, your community, your nation, your state, your constitution. And when that was written, they didn't know exactly what the problem could be, and neither do you. It could be something that is up close and immediate, or it could be an existential threat that is coming down the road towards you. And whether that threat is a tyrannical government, a foreign invader, or a mob of angry people looking to destroy you for what you have, one way or another, and even zombies, I don't care, whatever in your mind you can come up with. But the whole idea is if you can engage that existential threat at a distance at which it will be difficult for them to engage you back, it's a pretty big deal. So I don't want to have an up close and personal event in a situation like that. I would rather take care of things when they can't shoot back. So those are the 3 things: the fun, the skill building, and the Second Amendment. How do you do it? You do not need, to get started, you do not need a 20-pound rifle or 25-power scope. You don't need electronics. You don't need a Kestrel, a Garmin watch. You don't need all of this stuff. You need some basic things. If you have a hunting rifle in your closet right now, it'll probably work. A 243, a 30-06, 270, any of those will be fine. I would recommend against magnums, only because you're going to be shooting a lot, and that type of recoil can really make things tough on you. But anything other than a magnum in a bolt action rifle is going to work. You're going to need a scope that you can at least dial the elevation and index the turret. Most will do that. Your basic 3-9 scope from Vortex, their budget line, will do that. Same with Leupold. All of the manufacturers, as long as you have a 3-9 or a 3-10 or something in that range, it'll work. You are going to need to do something different with your bases. You need a 20 MOA base on it. A 20 MOA base, if you don't ever shoot beyond 300 yards, a 20 MOA base is not going to hurt you. It can only help, and it'll allow you to dial out to those longer ranges. Last thing you need, just some sort of a bipod. I don't care what, a Harris bipod will be just fine. You probably need one app on your phone. I like GeoBallistics, and that's about it in terms of equipment. Now, will that make you a top-level PRS shooter? Absolutely not. This will not get you ready for the NRL Hunter Series, but it will get you enough equipment to at least go out there to a training class and start engaging targets at longer range. Learn what the bullet is going to do. Learn what your gun is going to do, and learn how you can influence that. Now, as far as training, I took a class from Bang Steel. I like those guys a lot. If you show up to their class, you pay $400 for a 2-day class, and in the first 20 minutes, they will have you hitting a target at 600 yards with that 30-06 I just described. Other trainers, talk to them, see what they say. Some training places, they'll rent you a gun. Now, there's some advantages to doing that. You're going to learn with some really good equipment, but you're not learning with your equipment. So weigh that and decide what you want to do. But that could work. Go to your local gun store, ask around, find out who else is shooting at long range. See if you can get their contact information. If you talk to enough people, eventually someone's going to invite you out with them. They could be a mentor to you. So without even taking a class, if you have a mentor, that can be a huge deal. And once you learn this stuff, mentor somebody else. Give back. Make sure that other people are able to learn this based on what you have learned. And then the last thing is some podcasts. I actually learned a lot from these, and there's a bunch of them out there, but there's 3 in particular I want to mention. Bang Steel has a podcast. They are funny. You need to have a thick skin, and you cannot be offended by anything that is politically incorrect, because they are. You might get a good laugh, but they also cover some long-range shooting stuff. Chris Way has what's called a Straight Dope podcast. His is terrific because he's going to he talks on a level that is really easy to understand, very analytical, and he's got some great ideas and drills for things that you can do at 100 yards to help prepare you for going out to longer ranges. So even without having access to a long range, he's got some ideas to help. And then the last one is Frank Galley. He's got, it's called the Everyday Sniper podcast. Now, all these guys have a lot of stuff that might be a lot more advanced than you need. Filter through that. If they're talking about, Kestrels and Garmin watches and all this other stuff, okay, cool. That really doesn't apply to the guy just starting out. But get started in it. Get started because you can, and you can do it with some fairly simple changes in your equipment. And then you're going to learn, you're going to have the enjoyment of it, you're going to develop your skills, and we got that whole Second Amendment thing going. So, I hope this has been helpful. My name is Steve Clifford. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So I want to do a quick addendum to that video because I realized that in it sounds like I'm advocating for a 3-9 power scope for long range shooting, and I'm not. There are much better choices for long range shooting. My point is that you can get started in it with something that will work without breaking the bank. Yeah, if you want to get into it, of course, more power is better. But for getting started, the thing that you probably already own is going to work at least well enough Now you get out beyond 600-700 yards, yeah, 9 power is going to be a little minimal, but you can see a 2 MOA target at 1,000 yards with that. So I just wanted to make the point where, you know, this is all about just getting started, starting off in this world and seeing if this is what you want to pursue. So that was my only point. Thanks for letting me clear that up.